Hi everyone, this is Prakhar Agrawal. I am MTech Data Science student at Triple IT Allahabad, and I am recording this video for the Big Data for Data Science assignment. In this assignment, what I have to do, I have to set up a Spark standalone cluster and one master and one slave cluster configuration. So I will set up this one master and one slave cluster configuration by using the virtual machine that I have already did. I have launched the two different nodes Ubuntu machines using the Oracle VMware, and post that I have set up one master and two slave cluster configuration. So that setup I am going to use for this assignment. And now let me explain what is the task for me. So like I have test and train data set, and I have to implement I have to build a model over this data set, and I have to fetch the accuracy also. So I will build the model using the three different ML classifications algorithm, and I will check the model accuracy in these three classifications algorithm. And so out of these three classifications algorithm, my first classification algorithm is decision tree. Post that I will run the naive Bayes, and the third one is the random forest. So let's start. Okay, so as you already can see, um, if I type GPS, my all of the services are already running. See that I have already told you that I have launched two virtual machines. So my first virtual machine IP address 192.168.0.102, username is HGC. Similarly, my second IP address is 192.168.0.105. So this is the first one where I have set up my master configuration, and this is the second machine where I have set up my second worker. So I have set up first worker on master machine only, and I have set up second worker on worker machine. Okay, so my Hadoop services are already running. I have submitted Spark's master, and like I have started my master and worker also. Okay, so for everyone convenience, let me stop all. That stop all will stop all the Hadoop related services, and once these all the Hadoop related services will be stopped, then I will stop my master and worker too, and I will show you from the scratch how to start all the Hadoop services, and then how to start the master, how to start the worker, like how we launch the multiple workers. So I will show you in Wave UI also, like how these things work. Meanwhile, I can show you my services that are running on the second machine. So see, my worker is running on the 4942, because I have configured my worker on the second machine, and I have set up my configured my master on the first machine. That master is set up on the 102 IP address, and worker is set up on the both 102 and 105. So you can see worker on both, but you will see master only on the 102. Okay, see, all the Hadoop related services are stop. Let me check it again. See, nothing is working except master and worker. So we have to stop that master and worker also, so that I can start it again and I can show you guys how we start. So okay, so I have stopped my master. Let me stop my worker too, and then I will start it again. Okay, so see, I have stopped my master and worker both. Okay, I think this command stop worker.sh will stop only worker on this machine. On the 102, the whatever the worker will be working here will be stopped, but it will not stop the worker, I think, of the 105. Let me check it with the JPS command. See, worker is working here. So what you need to do, you have to give the stop workers.sh. So okay, let me type stop workers.sh. Yeah, fine. So we have already stopped the worker node that was running on the um1. So it's showing no organization.apache.spark.deploy.worker to stop. So it has nothing to stop on the um1, but on um2 it has stopped the worker. So if I type JPS in this 105 machine, now we will not get 4942 as a running process. See, only JPS is working now because we have stopped the worker. We have stopped the multiple worker right now. Okay, so nothing is working now. Let's clear the screen and let's start from the scratch. So first what we have to do, I have to start my Hadoop services, as I will copy the data from the HDFS. So this is my requirement. You can copy from the data from the local, so this is not a compulsion to use this Hadoop, because I am going to use the standalone cluster, so there is no need to start the Hadoop and all other. I have set up my Spark in the standalone mode. So still for the storage part I'm using HDFS. That's why I'm starting all the Hadoop related services. Okay, so it will take some time, but it will it will start name node, data node, resource manager, and node manager. Secondary name node I have configured on the 105 machine, so it will start there. Yeah, we have to wait here. Secondary name node has been started on UM2. I can show you there also. If I type the JPS command in that second virtual machine, CC 8473 processes for secondary name node. So secondary name node is active on the second machine. So I have configured in this manner that I have my secondary name node should be run on the second machine, and my primary name node should be on first machine. Okay, I think it services has been started here. Okay, let me type the JPS command so you can check also, like, is they working or they have stopped. Yeah, so name node is working, data node is working, node manager is working, resource manager is working. These are the services that Hadoop, these are the Hadoop related services. First two for the HDFS, DFS, for DFS related, and last two, node manager and resource manager, is associated with the yarn. Okay, so once the Hadoop related services are start, we can start the master also. So start master.sh. This is the command to start the master in a standalone mode. So see, it's starting and it will be finished quickly. Yeah, it's done. So I have started my master on 102 IP address machine. So let us check the babe UI for this, whether it has started or not. We have to check there. Yeah, so if I type http and then my IP address, and what is this, 192.1.168.0.102, and port number is 8080 by default. You can check, you can change the port number, but by default it 8080. Like, if you configured it in a Hadoop environment.sh file, then that definitely whatever you will configure, that will be your port number. But if you haven't configured anything there, then the port number is 8080. So this is the URL that we are going to use for the all the Spark related services, Spark related program that we are going to submit, that will run on this master. So this is the master URL. So once you like, at the time of giving command for starting the worker, you need to give a master command too, so it will start the worker on the master node only. Okay, so let's get back to this mobile XCOM screen, black screen. Okay, so command is for starting the workers, not a single worker, because we have configured the worker on 102 and 105 both. So our command will be the start workers dot sh, and then okay, we have to copy the command from we have to copy the URL from there. Okay, so that I have copied from here, and then I will paste it here. Okay, so I need to enter here. So as soon as I click here, see, it's starting the worker node on UM1, is starting the worker node on UM2. UM1 and UM2 is the machine name for the both IP address, that virtual machines that I have launched. The UM1 is the machine name for the first virtual machine, and UM2 is the machine name for the second virtual machine. Okay, let us check in the babe UI whether these workers are up and running, or there is some issue, because that might be. Nothing is so sure. See, both are working. Okay, let's look at the few configuration file here. So I can see this is my worker and this is my worker's ID, and these are the number of cores that I have used. So in Spark standalone cluster, if you didn't configure anything, so what it will do, it will launch a worker and all the cores that are available on that particular node will be assigned to that worker. So in my machine, I have configured two core for a single virtual machine. So it has assigned two cores to the particular worker. You can configure these number of cores in the Hadoop environment.sh file or at the time of submission of the like job, but by default it will assign all the cores that are assigned to your virtual machine. For memory, it has assigned 2.8 gigabit, although I have assigned 4 gigabit, but we know only 50 to 60% they assign for the actual process, and 40% it is reserved for the system call, so you can't use that much. So if you need 10 GB, you have to assign 14 to 15 GB. Okay, so my alive workers are 2, my cores in use is 4, and my memory is in use in 5.7 gigabit. Currently no process is running and I haven't completed anything yet. Okay, so things are working fine. Let's get back to the MobaXterm screen. So my master is working, my worker is working, and Hadoop related services are up and running. Okay, let me type JPS command once more and print out show you all the services that are running. So they see worker is running, data node is running, name node is running, node manager, resource manager, and master. So all the 6 processes are working here. Similarly, if I type JPS command in second machine, then we can see the secondary name node is working here and worker is working here, because I have configured secondary name node here and I have configured my second worker on this machine. So my worker and secondary name node is working. That's fine. However, the file that have been given to me as a like for the assignment that I have downloaded from here. So I have my .py file to run the decision tree and naive and random forest. Although you can get these .py files in the example section also, if you once you install the Spark, then you will get some example file to run, and in that section you can get all the machine learning related files there. So what I did, I have downloaded the file there and I have uploaded all the files to the current folder. So I have created a folder MNIST under the folder input files. The input files I have created, in input files I have created a MNIST folder. In MNIST folder I have uploaded all the files. So these are the files that is provided to me by the professor. Okay, let me before submitting this command, what I am going to do, I am not going to access my local machine for the storage for the file. For the input file, I will take the data from the HDFS. So what I did, I have copied this data from the local to the HDFS location, and from that HDFS location, I will fetch the data in my particular .py file. Okay, so let me show you where I have placed the data in the HDFS. Although for copying the data from the local file system to the HDFS, we have a command -copy from local. Let me show you there. HDFS DFS -copy from local. Okay, but I have already copied the data there, so I don't need to execute this command, but I have another command hdfs dfs -ls, and command is user prakhar. Sorry, this is my directory in which I have placed my file. Sorry, my bad. So hdfs dfs -ls user prakhar and star. Yeah, so I have placed 3 files in my user Prakhar directory. First one is iris, second one is mnist test.csv, and third one is mnist train.csv. So I have placed 3 files there. I am going to use test and train.csv from this hdfs location in my .py files that I am going to run on the Spark. Okay, so before submitting my Spark submit command, before executing that Spark submit command with any Python files, what I am gonna to do, I am going to show you uh, or explain you the code that is written in the tt file or nv file or rf. So I will explain the code for one file because I'm not gonna explain any classifications algorithm, like how these classifications algorithm work. So if I click on that mnistdt.py file, I hope you will be able to see whatever the text is written here. Let me highlight also. As soon as I will explain the line, I will highlight that line, that particular line. So first 5 line is actually importing the libraries that we are going to use. Okay, so for any kind of Spark program, what is the first thing that we have to do? We have to set up a driver. So setting up the driver, we have to create a Spark context, and we have to we set up a Spark context using the Spark conf command. So we will initialize a Spark conf command. We will set few necessary information whenever we start any, whenever we launch any kind of like any kind of application. We have to set the master name, we have to set the application name, and many more things we can set up, but these are the necessary that you have to do. You can set master as a local also, or if you have launched master, if you have launched your master on a particular node, then you have to provide the url of your master here. So in my case it is spark hyphen slash slash um1 g707, that default port. Fine. And in the set application name, I have taken mnistrf. Why? Because I am running random forest on the mnist dataset, and for this to sc. Okay, so from this sc we can read the text file. So whatever the file that we have stored in HDFS will be read by the sc.text file. So we have two kind of data files there. First is the train.csv and second one is the test.csv. So we will store our train.csv in raw data set and test.csv in a test data set. Okay, so if you see the data set, whatever the provided to me have actually header. So first thing that we have to do, we have to remove the header. So in Python it's very easy because you use the pandas there, and pandas allow you to quickly remove the header and fetch the whatever the data remained. But it was quite difficult here. So what I did, I have fetched all the data here, and post that we are removing the first row. First record we will delete and header will be out. This is the function that I will explain once we will use it. Okay, so in just next line we are using that parse point function here. Okay, so in raw data we map this function line by line. So for each and every line will be passed to the parse point function, and whatever will be written will be saved in the parse data. Okay, so for each line, what is going to happen? For each line is going to split over the comma. So whatever the word will be there, that will be separated by comma, will be a single index in a list, will be at will be at a particular index in a list. So suppose that we will get a list that will contain all the words of a line. And if we see the input data set, then you will get to know that the first column actually contain the label and other contain the features. So what we, like this parse point is returning, it is returning a key value pair, and key is the label and value is the array of the features. So whatever the features value is present in a particular row will be passed as an array or as a value in a key value pair, and all these key value pair will be stored in the parse data. So for each and every line a key value pair will be assigned in a parse data. Okay, we are importing time and start time command because we have to compute the time also, like how much time actually this process is taking. That's why we are recording the start time here, and post that we are building the model here. I'm not gonna explain you how decision tree work, and I'm sorry for this voice. He's working. I can't do anything. Sorry. Once this model training will get end, then we can see whatever the time at that time, and then we can take the difference of the time whatever we have recorded before the model training and whatever will be the time after the model training. So difference will be the model training time. We can say that this was the time in which model was training. This much we can like this much we can ignore. It might take a few nanosecond, but we can ignore this part. Okay, so similarly, header, as we have removed a header from the raw data, similarly we are removing header from the raw test data also. So these two lines will remove the header. Once the header is removed, similarly, we have done in raw data, we took each and every line like a parse point function, took input as a took each and every line of the raw data as an input, and it has returned key value pair. So similarly here also, it this parse point function will take the input data from the test data, and it will return a key value pair in which key will contain the label and value will contain an array of features. Okay, so post doing that, we will get a test data only. They are not changing the name here, they are just storing in a single name. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to make the predictions. So we have already built a model, and in this model we are building a predictions using the test data. So in test data we are using only features, we are not using that label. Okay, so once we will get the features, what we need to predictions, then what we need to do, we have already labels for the test data set, so we will compare the labels of the test data set with the predictions. So for the 100% accuracy, labels of the test data set will be should be equal to the predictions data set predictions label. So for that thing, we will compare the labels of predictions and the test data set labels that are already given to us, and we will count the number of times actually the predictions label is not matching with the given label. If they didn't match, we will count as a 1, and we will keep counting and for the whole prediction database. And once we will be done with this, then we will divide it by the total number of records that were present in the test data set. So by this we will get the test error. It's like if out of 100 out of 1000 lines, if the predictions were wrong for the 100 lines, that means 100 by 100 by 1000, that will be a 10% will be the test error. Okay, so this is the code that I have explained. uh, so okay, so in MobaXterm, what we have to do, we have to submit this py file over the Spark, and Spark will run it. So Spark submit. Okay, you have to define the your master also here. So my master is on different URL. Let me copy it again from there. Sorry. Okay, so this is my URL. Let me copy it again. Back to MobaXterm. Let me type the command here. Okay, so I have given Spark submit command with my master configuration. So what I need to give it here, I have to give my input files also, in which my code is actually written. Okay, so I can copy file path from here only. These are the things that is easy with the MobaXterm. Actually, it's become quite difficult if you are working on a Ubuntu machine. It become actually difficult there to copy the path and all. You have to go in a folder structure and then you can copy. So I have given Spark submit hyphen hyphen master and the URL of the master, and then I have given the path of the mnistdt.py the code file path where I have written the code. Okay, so if I run this, then what will happen? We will get log and output on same black screen that actually you are seeing right now. But what I want to store that logs and output content in a different file on a different location. So if I execute it right now, it will print all the things here only. So for the convenience, what I did, I have already saved my log files and the output in a different file in output folder. So this is the dt.txt file in which I have saved my log and the output both. And in dt/print, I have saved my output only. So let me show you the dt.txt here. Okay, so this is dt.txt file where you can see the log files, logs only. So logs and output actually. So what I did, I have stored in a dt.txt just to keep it for the records. So you can see I have a lot of logs, like they have written, I think around, see, 30,000 lines they have written. Too much log. In this log, somewhere they have written output to do, but it's actually difficult to read the output, and it actually difficult to segregate the logs and output. So what I did, I have written my output to the different file, dt*print.txt. So this is a kind of debug graph that I have tried to explain you, like learn classification tree model. Hopefully this might not be useful for you, but it's actually useful. Let's ignore this point here. So this is the time that random forest has taken, sorry, decision tree has taken in learning or in building the model, and whatever the, and this is my test error. So my test error is 0.1167. That means I have around 89% of accuracy in our in our model that we have trained over the decision tree. Okay, so this is the command for dt dataset, for mnist dt.py file. Similarly, we can command for other INB and RF. And for these, I have you just have to change the here, like NB, execute it. Once you will execute it, you will get this kind of, you will get this kind of log. Okay, so this is the command for random forest. uh, okay, so this was, okay, so this was the command for decision tree. Similarly, by just changing dt to nb and rf, you can use same command for the other two files also. So if I type nb here and execute it, you will get this kind of log. Okay, so let me open it. See, so this is the time that my Spark has taken in building the model over the NiceBICE, and model accuracy is 8365, like 83%, around 84% you can say. Okay. Similarly, if I just change NB to RF, then I will get this kind of log. This is just output. Let me show you log also. Let me show you log. See, this is the log. I have written, I have stored my output in a different file so that I can show you, because this output will be somewhere in this big log, and it's pretty difficult to find it, although I have given too much space, but still it might be difficult for you if you haven't given this much. So let's ignore this part. Okay. See, let me run one machine, let me submit one command so that I can show you these commands working in a wave UI. Okay, so let me submit this input files mnist and mnist nf dataset. Okay. Okay, so for this NB, let me run it here so that I can show you this process is working as a running on the master node in Wave UI. So that's why I'm for the assignment purpose, let me run this NB here also. Okay, so as soon as I execute it here, if we go on the master URL and let me refresh it again. Yeah, see, it took some time in getting reflected here, but it will be. So see, it has assigned all the 4 cores to my machine. Like I have assigned 2 cores in one machine and 2 cores in the second machine, so it has assigned all the 4 cores. Like it has assigned all the two worker for this application ID. This is the application name that uh, we have given in the Python file in the beginning only, and it's running from the 10 second. And memory per executor is 1024. It's by default, you can change it, but it's by default 1024, although you have 5.7 gigabit, but it's still using 2 gigabit because it can assign one by default it assign 1 GB per executor, or yeah, per executor, and we have launched a two executor in two virtual machine, so that's why it took 2 gigabit only. But if you configure in a spark environment.sh, then it will take more also. Similarly, by default, it's using all the cores. That's why it has used all the four core. If you configure here also, you can change the number, but it can't be more than four, no, because you have 4 core. So you can assign one, two, three, four only. You can't assign five or six. Basically, to implement parallelism, you have to assign all the cores for the process to the process. Okay, so this process is running, and let me show you my screen also, that you can get idea how actually log looks like. Pretty fascinating, right? Done. See, it will take see, it has printed the time taken. It took 228 second. If I convert it into the minute, it will be around 60 to the 24, 6 for the 24. Yeah, so it's around 4 minutes it took in model training. Okay, let me show you in a browser also. See, in browser you can see it's running from the last 6 minutes. Yeah, luckily it has been finished in the 5.8 minute. So similarly we can do for the all others. I'm not going to do here because I have already did and I have already shown the output logs. So thank you for listening. Thank you.